Okay, so today I'm going to be doing a spoiler-free and spoiler review of this book, Boyfriend Material by Alexis Hall. This is an adult LGBTIQ+ book, and I gave this book 4.5 stars. Because it is going to be spoiler-free and spoiler, we're going to begin with my spoiler-free section. In this section, I'm going to give you a premise of the book, and I'm also going to give you 3 spoiler-free cons and 3 spoiler-free pros to help you to decide if this is in fact the right book for you. Then we're going to go right into the spoiler section where I get to rave or rant, depending upon how I feel about the book, with my thoughts and feelings in a spoilery way. So let's open up this spoiler-free section by discussing the premise of Boyfriend Material by Alexis Hall. So the premise of this book is that we are following a man whose name is Lucien, who refers to himself as Luke for a nickname. Luke's parents are both A-list celebrities. His English father and French mother were both rock stars, and because of that, Luke is followed around by the paparazzi because he is a child of theirs, just like any other celebrity child. It's just the way that it is. Luke is also a wild child party boy, and so he is not only followed around by the paparazzi, but he's usually followed around by the paparazzi for all the wrong reasons. We also need to factor in that Luke works for a charity. A lot of the generous donators to this charity are starting to back out because of the negative press that Luke is receiving. So his boss gives him an ultimatum: smart up or you're getting fired. So eventually it is decided that Luke is going to find a fake boyfriend that is going to help him look better in the eyes of his donors and the eyes of the public. He ends up coming across a guy by the name of Oliver who couldn't be any more different to Luke, and the pair of them start fake dating. I really enjoyed this book for the most part, so let's now jump into my 3 spoiler-free pros and 3 spoiler-free cons. We're going to start with my spoiler-free cons because it's always good to end on a positive note. My first spoiler-free con for this book would have to be something that I can't be too specific about, so I'm going to dance around it because it is going to be a massive spoiler if I just come right out and directly say it. So I'm just going to say this much. Alexis Hall adopts what I'm referring to as a cliche that I've seen done many times in romance books that I'm not a fan of. Most of the time I either just find it annoying or I find it completely unnecessary. It happened again in this book. What is it? Join me in the spoiler section. We'll go over that in more detail over there. My second spoiler-free con for this book is the miscommunication trope. Now, your man, Mr. Francy, if he's not a fan of any type of trope, it is the miscommunication trope. Now, what do I mean when I say miscommunication? I mean when we have characters who are all up in their thoughts and feelings of not being able to say something to someone else because they have their own fair idea of how this person is going to react or respond and the domino effect that that's going to cause. And yet, had they taken the risk and actually said it, maybe things would be fine. We don't know, and they just decide not to say these things. This just really annoys me, and the more that I'm reading the miscommunication trope in any genre, I've seen it come up in multiple different genres, the more that I see it, the more it frustrates me. You don't know how someone's going to react until you actually say something, so say something. You don't have to say the whole thing, but say something. I mean... Now, I did some well-rounded research because I like for my reviews of books to be as well-rounded as they possibly can. Yes, I can give you a completely biased opinion with my own thoughts and feelings on a book, but to help you guys really determine if it's the right book for you, I decided to do some research and look around and see what those who didn't like this book thought and give you some of their cons. These aren't cons that I have, but these are cons that have propped up for others that maybe you should be aware of, just to give you a more well-rounded look at this book, I suppose. So my third spoiler-free con for this book is that there are some out there that are of the opinion that despite the fact that this book is an adult book, that it reads more as a YA. Okay, I can understand where they're coming from. However, there are certainly moments in this book that would never be green-lighted to be published as a YA, and that to me is why it is an adult book. I feel like maybe 3/4 of the book could be seen as a YA book, but you'd need to cut out really integral scenes that, had they not played out the way that they did, really would have changed the whole tone of the book. And so even if you have only a couple or a few adult themes in a book, it still needs to be marketed as an adult book, because when you're marketing a book for its age rating, you're marketing it to the level of maturity required to read the book. Anyone can read any book at any given time, but it's more of a warning. Be prepared. This is an adult book. Adult themes will come up. Adult themes do come up. So I disagree with this personally, but people out there are saying it. 3/4 of it may read as YA. Keep that in mind as you do go along. And the final spoiler-free con that some people have, that I agree, but I also feel that there is a quick fix for this that Alexis Hall could have taken upon herself, is that a side character, someone who's two characters who are really not important at all to the plot of the book, other than the fact that they're Luke's friends. They hardly pop up in the book at all, but anyway, make some things a little bit confusing, and let me explain. So the first character I'm referring to is a side character by the name of James Royce. James Royce met a boy, fell in love with him, and got married to him. The problem is that the guy that he met, loved, fell in love with, and married is also named James Royce. So they both were wed, and now they're both called James Royce because they have their names as being hyphenated. The problem with this is that Alexis Hall, whenever she was referring to these characters, whether they were saying something, so she has their said, or whether she's just referring to them through Luke, is that they're both referred to as James Royce. So it's really hard to make that distinction, other than these two James Royces are very different characters. To me, I felt that this could have very easily been fixed if we just named one James and we named the other JR or JRR. I mean, probably not JRR. Let's not talk about Tolkien. That would have solved everything. Alexis Hall chose not to go there. But there's your cons. We're now going to go into some spoiler-free prose for this book, because I love this book. Woo! Let that rainbow flag fly, because this is an incredible LGBTIQ plus book, and now it is time for me to sashay and stay as I tell you my 3 spoiler-free prose for this book. My first spoiler-free pro for this book is the fact that I could not stop laughing reading this book. Literally either every page, if not every second page, had me at the very least giving a short little chuckle. Just moving my scarf because it was annoying me. Yes, I kid you not. At the very least, I was either giving a short little chuckle all the way through to a full-on belly laugh. My second spoiler-free pro is the dynamics that are played out between Lucien and Oliver. These two characters could not be any more different from each other. Lucien is your typical bad boy, very casual, very laid back. Oliver is very prim, proper, good stand-up type poshy bloke. They could not be any more different if you tried, so it makes for some amazing dynamics. My final spoiler-free pro for this book is that this is a I want more, gimme, 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 gimme now type book. But this ain't a standalone novel. This is book 1 in the Boyfriend Material series. Book 2, Husband Material by Alexis Hall, is coming out in 2022. So there is more to come, my friends. I am all of a dither. I'm so excited to get into the spoiler section of this book. So let's go do that, guys, shall we? Thank you for sticking around if you're only joining me for the spoiler-free section. I'll see you guys Monday, Wednesday, or Friday, whichever one's coming up next. But for the rest of you, it is spoiler time. So let's jump right in. So, spoiler. This is the spoiler section, so you have been warned. The first thing I'm going to open up discussing with you guys is the promise that I made with my very first spoiler-free con, which is the cliche that I keep seeing coming up in romance books that I don't like, that really annoyed me. Alright, if you've read the book, you will remember this happening, and if you didn't, hold on to your hat, because Mr. Francy is going to stand on a soapbox for about 2 minutes here. I hope you don't mind. Okay, I'm going to talk to you about the fake breakup. Not fake breakup in terms of fake boyfriend trope, but breakup that seems real at the time. But you know, if you know. If you've read enough romance books, you know that they're gonna get back together anyway. And it just seems like such a waste of time that we could have filled doing so much more with. And for those of you who complain that this book has an abrupt ending, here's Alexis Hall is what we could do. We could have taken out that whole breakup thing and added pages onto the end showing how they're living a beautiful life happily ever after. Everyone loves the happily ever after. It's very cozy, it's very comfortable, it's all the warm, gooey feels. We could have done that. Instead, we have to have this breakup that we know isn't going to last that long, which is so abrupt, mind you, because we've just had this moment where Oliver and Luke have finally come full circle in their relationship, and as far as not just having Oliver supporting Luke, but Luke full on supporting Oliver. They're in a really good place. They've just admitted to each other this is no longer fake, it is real. And the very next morning, Oliver's done, he's had enough, goodbye. What happened? Did Oliver have a bad dream? Like, I don't get how the night before, right before they went to sleep, they were saying to each other how much they loved each other. And then the very next morning, no communication is taking place. They've gone to sleep. The very next morning, Oliver says, okay, so, goodbye. And Luke says, okay, goodbye, I'll see you later. He goes, no, you're not understanding what I'm saying. This is over. We are done. Goodbye. Luke's reaction, I would have had the same one. Wait, no, don't go anywhere. What the heck are you talking about? Goodbye. We were fine when we went to sleep. I just woke up, because Luke just woke up, which is the worst time to say it. But so that just really annoyed me. Let's go into more detail about that miscommunication trope, shall we? Luke and just not telling Oliver things, I didn't quite understand at all, and it annoyed me for most of the book until we got to the whole bathroom door thing, which I'm going to discuss with you guys soon enough, so I don't want to go there just yet. But until we got to that point, I just kept thinking, Luke, why aren't you saying something? And seriously, enter any character's name there for any book that deals with a miscommunication trope. Enter character name. Why aren't you saying something? Seriously, just say it. What do you have to lose at this point? Just say it. Especially in this situation where it's a fake dating thing. What's the worst that's gonna happen? Oliver says, well, this fake dating thing is over, and Luke says, well, I guess, okay, it was fake dating anyway, and that's what ended up happening anyway. Oliver, if it was just little things here and there, that's fine, but this whole parents drama, is it drama for the sake of drama? Did I rate this book too high? I don't think so. I think all in all, I love this book. But that whole parents drama, the drama with the brother, we don't know the brother, and we're dealing with an issue when we don't even know him. And when you have to have a side character pull your main character away and explain in detail why this argument is taking place in the first place, it's not good setup. It's just not. That we need to now know why this is occurring. Why Oliver saying, congratulations, you're pregnant, is such a big deal and is taken in such a bad way. Yeah, not good. My scarf is really annoying me. Then we've got that whole eating disorder thing that comes up towards the end of the book. Oliver, you have an eating disorder. We need to fix this. He does? What did I miss? I'm sorry. I 100% validate that Oliver is a vegan, vegetarian, whatever he is. I don't claim to know anything about it because I'm not one. But that he says he's one of them, I give him that. I validate that. That's what he is. Is it that Luke is looking at Oliver saying, well, being a vegan, vegetarian, it's because you have issues eating and you have an eating disorder? Or is there something I missed? And that makes me really angry, because if I missed it, how hard did Alexis Hall work for me to be able to notice this? Clearly it was glossed over, or it just wasn't even mentioned, one of the two, but either way, that ain't good. Let's talk about the bathroom door thing, because this is the most adorable freaking thing I have ever seen in a romance. And I tell you what, this is something I want to employ. For anyone who is an introvert, this bathroom door idea is such a good thing. You go into the bathroom, close the door, the other person's on the other side, and you say your thoughts and feelings with them on the other side of the door so that you're not having to look in their eyes and see the reaction that they're having and all that kind of stuff. I love this. This is fantastic. Can I just do this with everyone? And finally, I want to bring up Luke's best friend, who I do not remember her name. Forgive me, I've read 3 books since reading this one, so forgive me that I don't remember her name. But his best friend, who is a woman who works in publishing. I love her for so many reasons. Let's start with her job. I love how whenever Luke is in contact with her, whether it's over the phone or through messaging or whatever, she's talking about some drama that's going on, and it's just so good. It's so funny, but also I, in a way, feel like it hits me with a lot more tickles than it would maybe others who don't read a lot, because a lot of my life revolves around reading these days. It's just, it's book humor, and I love it. My word. The reason why I love this character so much is because she is the type of friend that would die for her bestie. And I love those friendships in books. There is a moment when Luke is talking to her after Oliver has left, and he basically, not word for word, but to summarize, says to her, I don't get why you put up with me. And she says, well, because that's what friends do. And she's not even giving it another thought. She's saying, this is what we do. Anytime you need me, you just call me up. I'll be there. I will listen. That's what friends do. Oh my gosh, I am a sucker for friendships like that in books. My final thoughts for Boyfriend Material by Alexis Hall is that this is a fantastic book. Despite the fact that I explored some flaws in the spoiler section, please don't allow that to turn you off from reading the book, because overall the book is fantastic. Not just between our 2 main characters, Lucien and Oliver, but also Lucien's friends are just fantastic. A lot of characters in this book made me laugh. Putting aside the hilarity of the book, the story itself is also actually wonderful. I love seeing the character arcs that we get between Lucien and Oliver as they progress through this fake boyfriend trope. I found that to be fantastic. The story was so engrossing. It was a quick read for me. I read it over the course of 2 days because of just how engrossing the story is as well. So, unfortunately, with that little cliche that came up, I did have to deduct a 0.5 stars, but otherwise, a solid 4.5 stars from me, and best believe husband material will be going on my 2022 TBR. You can keep that in mind, because that will happen for sure. I am so ready to get rid of this scarf because it's been annoying me this whole time. But that is where I am going to leave it for the boyfriend, not the, just boyfriend material by Alexis Hall. Thank you so much for watching. Letting you guys go. Peace, blessings, and so much love. I post videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and I'll see you again soon. Mwah! And happy reading!